We're making soft and chewy gluten-free snickerdoodles with almond flour and natural sweeteners, and you'll see how easy it is to strain your pumpkin puree for the most flavor. Hello, my name is Nicole Bonilla. If you like making healthier swaps in our favorite recipes, then you are in the right place. Now you're welcome to jot down these ingredients as we go along, or you can click on the link that's in the video description below, and that will take you to the full recipe with all the details, including nutrition facts, ingredients and substitutions, and frequently asked questions. Now the key to getting the most pumpkin flavor is to strain our pumpkin puree first, because when it comes right out of the can, it has a lot of moisture in it. So this is the easiest way to instantly strain out the excess liquid. The three easiest options is to strain it using just a clean towel, or using a strainer bag, or just using some paper towels. Now if you use paper towels, you'll want to fold it about 3 ply so that it's strong enough, and you will want to be sure you don't fold it where you have a seam in the middle, because then it will break easily and your pumpkin will come squirting out. My favorite option is using a strainer bag, and these are really inexpensive, and I included a link if you'd like to check this one out. Now we're starting with half a cup of pumpkin puree, but once we drain it, it'll probably be more like 1/3 of a cup. So I'll just add it right in the middle of the strainer bag and just pull the bag closed. And as soon as I put some pressure, you can see the liquid already starting to run out. So I'm just going to twist the bag as it gets tighter and tighter on the pumpkin, and then just gently squeeze with my hands. So you can see all that liquid that we got out of just half a cup of pumpkin puree. Now we can just open the bag and easily scoop out the pumpkin back into our bowl. And now we have 1/3 cup of pumpkin that's a little bit more like a pumpkin paste. And this works really well for making our cookies. Now to make the cookie dough, we're going to start by creaming together our wet ingredients. So we'll start with our 1/3 cup of strained pumpkin puree and half a cup of room temperature butter and 2/3 of a cup of cane sugar. But you could use any sugar that you like. I like using the cane sugar because it's the least processed option. Then we'll add 2 egg yolks and half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we'll just mix this together until combined. Next we can add our dry ingredients, which is 1½ cups of almond flour. And I do include a variety of flours you can use and their measurements in the recipe card. Now almond flour needs to have an additional flour added to it to help provide some structure. So we're going to add 1/3 cup of gluten-free flour. You could also use tapioca starch, or you could use all-purpose flour if you don't need these to be gluten-free. And for the classic snickerdoodle tangy flavor, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of some cream of tartar, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. And then we're adding half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of salt. And then we'll just mix this together until well combined. And then we have this very fluffy and incredibly smelling cookie dough. Now this cookie dough is going to be quite soft, but we are going to be rolling it in sugar first, so that's going to help us handle it. Otherwise, we would want to put it into the fridge or the freezer to help chill the butter, just so it would hold together a little bit easier. So if you're not going to roll this in sugar, then I recommend chilling the butter just for maybe 20-30 minutes, and then scooping it out onto your cookie sheet. Now to roll these cookies, you could use any sugar that you like. I really like using the coarser turbinado sugar. I think it adds a really delicious crunch to the cookies, and I think it has a little more flavor than just regular sugar. So I've just added 1/4 cup of turbinado sugar to my bowl, and then I'm adding half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then just quickly mixing those together. And then I love using my medium-sized cookie scoop because it makes it really easy, and the cookies are all uniform in size. So I'm just going to scoop out a full scoop of cookie dough and just drop it right into the sugar. And then we can just give that a little shimmy and kind of go in with our fingers and just kind of roll it around till it's all covered. And this is why we can get away with having a very soft dough. And then we'll just repeat for the remaining cookies. Now if you could use more healthy inspiration on a regular basis, I invite you to join my email list. All you have to do is click on the link in the video description below, and that is the best way for us to stay connected. Well, these look gorgeous, and they're ready to go into a 350-degree oven for anywhere between about 9 to 10 minutes, or just until they're starting to turn a really light golden brown on top. Well, here are our cookies out of the oven, and they are gorgeous. You can see how they're already getting that classic snickerdoodle crackle on top. Now these are going to be very soft, so you'll want to let them cool on your counter completely so that that butter has a chance to solidify, and then they are going to be perfect. I have some from a batch I made earlier that are ready to enjoy. Oh, look at that beautiful soft texture inside, but then they're just lightly toasted on the top and bottom. That is delicious and crunchy from the sugar. That is just a heavenly bite of pumpkin and cinnamon and those spices. And I love the little extra flavor you get from using cane sugar and turbinado sugar. And they're nice and sweet, but not overpowering. And the almond flour just gives it a richer taste that is so delicious. And I love that they're made with clean, natural ingredients, and everyone will love these even if they don't have a gluten allergy. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. I've included a link to the full recipe and it's in the video description below, and that will take you to the website gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I invite you to join me again in my kitchen.